All right, welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. Trump versus the resistance. Now, as the Mueller witch hunt continues, there's still no evidence of any Trump-Russia collusion. So ask yourself, why was the Michael Cohen filing done on the eve of this high-stakes G20 summit? This is not the first time this has happened. Remember, the Paul Manafort indictment, George Papadopoulos' guilty plea, both announced just days before the president left for a historic 12-day trip to Asia. And White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, she said today that the probe may be hurting the U.S. ties with Moscow, all suggesting that the special counsel may be trying to derail the Trump presidency in more ways than one. Joining us now with reaction, author of the bestseller, Trump's America, The Truth About Our Nation's Great Comeback, Fox News contributor and former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. You know, one of the things, you talk about the success of Trump in your book, but then you also have the warnings, what the president needs to be aware of. Obviously, I stand on my original premise. Mueller's out for blood. Mueller picked this team of Democratic donors, even Clinton's old lawyer at the foundation, Andrew Weissman and company, for a reason. He wants to hurt the president as badly as he can. That's why he's offering all these get-out-of-jail-free cards if you just say whatever we want you to say.
Look, I think we ought to quit talking about the Mueller investigation and start talking about the Mueller Trump destruction project. Because it's very clear that Mueller and his left-wing lawyers are methodically doing everything they can to destroy the president. And in effect, to create a non-justice department, because this is not justice, a non-justice department coup d'etat in which they undo the votes of the American people and they pile enough junk. And that's what all this stuff is. They pile enough junk around that they just gradually overwhelm President Trump. And I think if you start and you look at everything they've been doing and you said, you know, from day one, this was never about Russian collusion. This was never about finding the truth. This was about a methodical effort to destroy President Trump by any means necessary. And you look at some of the things they're getting indictments on. I mean, again, somebody goes and lies to the Congress. That's stupid. They deserve to be indicted. I'm not in any way defending Cohen. But they were lying about stuff that wasn't a crime. It's the point that Andy McCarthy keeps making as a former Justice Department lawyer, that none of the underlying patterns were crimes. People are allowed to be in business. People are allowed to do deals. People are allowed to do lots of stuff. And yet what you get, of course, is the headline in the elite media that somehow this is another terrible blow to Trump. What it really is further proof that Mueller's interest is in destroying the Trump presidency. And your point is exactly right. They had no reason to release this as the president goes to an important meeting in Argentina with 19 other world leaders. I mean, this is sort of like undermining America for partisan reasons.
You've been in the minority in Congress, and you were the Speaker in Congress. It's a lot easier to be the Speaker. I'm just guessing. Although you take a lot more incoming. Let's be honest. You took your fair share. So we don't have an agenda, the Democrats in the House. All they're saying, endless investigation. Nancy Pelosi's first agenda item, she announced earlier today, release Donald Trump's taxes. Now, that's not going anywhere in the Senate. Good thing the president went out to campaign very hard to keep the Senate, because that's going to help him. But it's still the intention. I don't see an agenda to serve the American people.
Well, and remember, Sean, this is what people have to understand. There's a 1923 law which allows the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee to request the tax returns of any American. So I can imagine a circumstance where the new chairman, a liberal Democrat, will exercise his legal right. The Internal Revenue Service will turn over the Trump tax returns, which are supposedly secret, and the release of which would be a felony. And then by some magic method that all of us will be shocked at, they'll turn out on page 1 of the New York Times. So I would not, I mean, these people are playing for blood. This is more like the terror in the French Revolution than it is like traditional American politics. They will do anything, break any rules, and I think break any law if it will enable them to get Donald Trump.
Let's go to the border. It was interesting during the campaign. Oh, they're just trying to gin up racial tensions. This isn't real. They're 1,000 miles away. Well, they're not 1,000 miles away anymore. And Border Patrol agents pelted with rocks, bottles, projectiles, and but using the same tactics that Obama used. Interestingly, nobody cared then. Tear gas to disperse crowds that were trying to break down the wall and enter the country and charge into the country illegally. Pretty severe crisis in Mexico. Then you have 600 criminals identified by the DHS and Mexican officials that have infiltrated the caravan. Where do we go from here? How do you stop that from happening?
Well, first of all, every citizen should ask their Democratic congressman or senator, are you really comfortable with 600 identified criminals coming into the United States in just one particular wave? Remember, if they get to come in this time, the number of people who will be coming north in the next 6 months will be amazing, because people are down there watching to see what happens. And I think it's astonishing to me that Senator Schumer, Speaker Pelosi, nobody's held accountable when you get a report from the Department of Homeland Security that in this particular group there are 600 people who are convicted criminals. Now, I suspect the average American, if that was presented to them, which it won't be by the elite news, won't be on the New York Times page one, but that's an astonishing piece of data. So I think that the president simply has to come back home, keep driving the points. He's the one person who can break through the news blackout and get the truth to the American
strategically,
people. And
would it be a good or bad idea to either use the reconciliation process to get full funding of the wall, or for the president to say, I'll just shut down the government and just wait?
Well, I think the president's already indicated what he may do is shut the border and see how rapidly that causes a real pain level. I mean, the number of American businesses that will be knocking on doors in Congress within 2 days will be amazing.
All right, Mr. Speaker, thanks for being with us.